Have you ever wondered, what does true love really mean? How can you build a relationship that is not only lasting but also truly happy? Love is one of the most beautiful experiences in life, but it's not always like a fairy tale. Some men seem perfect, they are charming, intelligent, sophisticated, and even know how to make you feel like the only person in the world. But the longer you love them, the more you realize that behind their attractive appearance are dangerous signs that can turn love into a tragedy. Let's explore the types of men who seem ideal but can hurt you the most, so you don't fall into these sweet but dangerous emotional traps. Welcome to the Sophia's Knowledge channel, and my name is Sophia. This is where lessons about love will help you better understand this complex emotion. In today's video, we will learn about 6 types of men who seem perfect but are dangerous in long-term relationships. Watch now and change the way you perceive love and life. Get ready because the insights and deep perspectives you are about to discover may make you rethink yourself and the relationships around you. Before we begin, find a quiet place, put on your headphones, and relax. Let your mind fully immerse in these sharings and enjoy every moment. Are you ready to explore new perspectives on love? Let's start with Sophia right now. Number 1. The overly controlling man. When love becomes a prison. In love, everyone wants to be cared for, looked after, and sometimes even feel a little jealousy as proof of their partner's affection. However, if that care gradually turns into control, and jealousy becomes domination, then it is no longer love, it is oppression. An overly controlling man may initially make you feel protected, but the longer you stay in the relationship, the more you will realize that you are slowly losing yourself. When care becomes control. At the beginning of a relationship, this type of man often appears very considerate. He wants to know where you are, what you're doing, and with whom, not because he doesn't trust you but because he's worried about you. Questions like, where are you? Who are you with today? Why didn't you answer my call? At first, you might feel warm inside, thinking he truly cares about you. But soon, these questions become a habit, occurring all the time, everywhere. It doesn't stop there, he starts asking you to share your location, send pictures as proof of where you are and who you're with. If you refuse, he immediately gets upset, blames you, or even accuses you of hiding something. When personal freedom disappears. Gradually, he doesn't just care about where you go but also interferes with how you dress, how you do your makeup, and even your personal interests. Statements like, I don't like you wearing short skirts outside. Why are you wearing so much makeup? Who are you trying to impress? Your friends don't seem like good people. I think you should stop seeing them. At first, you might think he just wants the best for you, but in reality, these are signs of control. He doesn't want you to have your own world, to be independent, he wants you to live by the rules he sets. One of the clearest signs of this type of man is that he always wants you to cut off your external relationships. Friends, colleagues, even family gradually become threats. If you spend too much time with them, he starts blaming you, I'm your boyfriend. Why are you prioritizing your friends over me? Your mother interferes too much in your life. You should limit talking to her. He wants you to depend entirely on him, and one day, you realize that you have no one left beside you except this man. When love becomes suffocating. Control isn't just limited to small things, it extends to your career, finances, and even your thoughts. If you want to pursue a career, he might say, why do women need ambition? Staying at home and taking care of the family is best. If you want to have a hobby, he immediately objects, why do you need to go to the gym? Aren't you beautiful enough for me? Everything in your life slowly becomes his decision. You no longer live the way you want but instead follow what he thinks is right. When the relationship becomes a prison. Have you ever felt scared to voice your opinions? Have you ever carefully chosen your words just to avoid upsetting him? If so, you are in a toxic relationship. This type of man may not use physical violence, but he manipulates your emotions in ways you don't even realize. He makes you feel guilty even when you've done nothing wrong. Every time you resist, he shifts the blame back to you. I do this because I love you. Can't you sacrifice a little for me? If you truly love me, you wouldn't argue with me like this. These words may make you soften, feel guilty, and continue to give in. But every time you compromise, you lose a little bit of your freedom. How to recognize and escape from this type of man? If you are in a relationship like this, ask yourself, are you still free to do what you love? Do you feel afraid when making decisions? Do you feel like you're gradually changing to fit his expectations? If the answer is yes, then it's time to reevaluate your relationship. A man who truly loves you will respect you, not control you. Be bold and set boundaries. Don't let love be an excuse for someone to violate your personal freedom. And if you feel like the situation cannot be changed, don't hesitate to let go. A healthy relationship should be where you can be yourself, not a prison disguised as love. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever been in a similar situation? If so, share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences. And if you found this content helpful, please hit like and share to spread this message to more people. Thank you for your support. Let's continue together. Number 2. The man who only knows how to promise but never acts. The illusion of a beautiful love. Promises in love are like the bricks that build trust between two people. A sincere promise not only makes the listener feel happy but also serves as motivation for both partners to strive together. But what happens when those promises are nothing more than fleeting words? What if the man beside you always speaks sweetly but never follows through? At first, you may trust and wait, but over time, you will realize you are stuck in a relationship full of disappointment and illusions. When promises are just a tool to soothe you. This type of man is very skilled at painting beautiful scenarios. He might talk about a future full of love and happiness. Just wait a little longer, and I will provide you with a better life. I'm trying my best, just be patient, and I will change. I'll spend more time with you, I promise. These promises sound wonderful, but the problem is, they never come true. Every time you bring them up, he will find an excuse to delay, his busy work schedule, an unfavorable situation, or even blaming you for not being patient enough. At first, you will try to trust and wait. But as time goes on, you will realize these promises are just an endless cycle with no destination. When you become the one who's always waiting. In a relationship, everyone desires certainty. But when you love someone who only promises without acting, you will always be in a state of waiting. You wait for him to build a future with you, but he never has a concrete plan. You wait for him to introduce you to his family, but he always finds a reason to postpone. You wait for him to give you a clear answer, but every time, you only receive empty words. Day after day, you get trapped in the hopes he creates. At some point, you will ask yourself, how much longer do I have to wait? When promises become an excuse to avoid responsibility. This type of man often uses promises as a way to escape real problems. When conflicts arise, instead of facing them and finding a solution, he will say sweet words just to appease you. I know I was wrong, I'll change. But he never actually changes. I'll try to spend more time with you. But your dates still get cancelled at the last minute. I'll prove to you that I love you. But those actions of proof never come. Every time you think about leaving, he makes more promises, trapping you in an endless cycle of hope and disappointment. When you lose faith in love. One of the biggest consequences of loving a man like this is losing faith. After being deceived by words too many times, you will start doubting not just him but even yourself. You will question, am I being too hasty? Am I not patient enough? Am I asking for too much? You will try to find reasons to justify his behavior, but deep down, you know that a person who truly loves you will not make you wait forever. Gradually, you will become wary of sweet words, even when they come from someone who is truly sincere. You will fear being deceived again, afraid of falling into another disappointing relationship. How to recognize and escape this kind of relationship? If you are in love with a man who only makes promises but never acts, ask yourself, does he truly take action to fulfill what he says? Do his promises come with a clear plan? How many chances have you already given him? A healthy relationship is not built on empty promises but on real actions. If you realize you have spent too much time waiting for someone who never follows through, it's time to let go. Remember, a man who truly loves you will not leave you waiting in vain. A responsible man will speak less and do more. Most importantly, a mature man will not use promises to delay but will use actions to prove his love. You deserve a love that is clear, a man who keeps his word, and a future that is not just built on empty promises. So, do not waste your time on someone who only knows how to promise but never acts. If you are still watching this video, don't hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section, I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that Sophia has more motivation to create meaningful and valuable videos. Let's continue together. Number 3. The man who is too perfect. When perfection is just a mask. In love, everyone hopes to find an ideal man, intelligent, successful, kind, and always treating them well. But if you meet someone who seems too perfect, without any flaws, always saying and doing the right things, and never making mistakes, it's time to be cautious. Because sometimes, perfection is just a mask hiding a deeper truth. When he feels like a character from a novel. This man appears with all the qualities you've always desired. He is elegant, successful, has a refined sense of style, behaves impeccably, and always knows how to make you feel special. He always knows what to say to make you happy. He never makes mistakes in his words or actions. He always makes the right decisions without hesitation or confusion. At first, you may feel lucky to have met someone like him. You might even think he is your soulmate. But over time, you will realize that he never reveals any weaknesses. No one is absolutely perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, experiences fatigue, and has negative emotions. If someone always presents an impeccable image, he might be hiding something. When he never shares his struggles. In a real relationship, both partners should feel comfortable sharing not only the good but also the struggles in life. However, with this man, you will notice that he rarely, if ever, talks about his problems. When you ask about difficult times in his life, he only gives vague answers or avoids the topic. When you want to know about his failures, he only mentions learning experiences without any real details. When you share your sadness, he comforts you perfectly but never lets you see him in a vulnerable state. He always maintains the image of a strong, capable man who is never troubled. But in reality, this is not confidence, it's a facade. When he always has the perfect answer for everything. Another sign of this type of man is that he always has the right answer in every situation. He is never caught off guard, never makes mistakes, and never admits to not knowing something. This might make you admire him, but it could also leave you feeling uneasy. Because a healthy relationship isn't about one person always being right and the other always being wrong. It should have balance, where both partners can learn and grow together. If you feel like you're constantly trying to keep up with his standards, always feeling like you're not good enough, then he may be using his perfection to create a world where he is the center. When you don't truly know who he is. The longer you love him, the more you realize that you don't actually know who he is. You know about his job, his hobbies, and what he enjoys doing, but you don't know, how does he react when he's sad? How does he handle failure? How does he express anger? Because he always hides these things, you won't know whether he can face challenges in your relationship honestly. A truly reliable man is not one who pretends to be perfect but one who dares to show his true self, including both strengths and weaknesses. When his perfection becomes pressure on you. Loving someone like this can make you feel pressured. You start asking yourself, am I good enough to be with him? Should I try to change myself to be more perfect? Am I disappointing him? Gradually, you may feel like you can't be yourself anymore. You fear making mistakes, fear expressing your true emotions, and fear that if you're not perfect enough, he will leave. But love is not a competition to see who is more perfect. A truly happy relationship is where you can be yourself, without hiding, without trying to become a different version of yourself just to please your partner. How to recognize and escape this kind of relationship? If you're in love with someone who seems too perfect to have any flaws, ask yourself, does he truly open up to you? Do you feel comfortable being yourself around him? Has he ever shown you moments of vulnerability or weakness? A healthy relationship isn't about one person always appearing strong while the other struggles to keep up. It should be a place where both partners can show their true selves, face difficulties together, and grow. If you realize that you constantly feel uneasy in this relationship, it may be time to reconsider. A man truly worth committing to is not one without flaws but one who is brave enough to acknowledge them and build an authentic love with you. Number 4. The authoritarian, conservative man. When love turns into domination. In love, everyone wants to find a mature man with strong opinions who can be a reliable support. However, there is a fine line between decisiveness and authoritarianism. At first, a decisive man may make you feel secure. But if he crosses the line, that decisiveness can turn into control, where you no longer have the right to make decisions for yourself. When every decision belongs to him. This man often has a very clear mindset, what I say is right, you just need to listen. He believes he knows better, has more experience, and therefore, all decisions in the relationship must be made by him. At first, you may find this trustworthy. He plans everything, what to eat and where to go today. What to wear when going out. Which friends you should meet and whom you should avoid. These may seem like acts of care, but if you try to voice a different opinion, you'll hear, what do you know? I'm doing this for your own good. Women just need to obey. At this point, you start to realize that your voice doesn't matter. You don't get to choose for yourself, you can only follow the path he has laid out. When you're not allowed to have your own opinions. An authoritarian man doesn't just want to control your actions, he wants to control your thoughts as well. He always believes his views are correct, and any other perspective is wrong. If you have an opposing opinion, he dismisses it without consideration. If you argue, he calls you stubborn and defiant. If you try to defend your viewpoint, he becomes irritated or angry. He doesn't care what you think or feel. In his eyes, there's only one right way, his way. Gradually, you lose the confidence to express your thoughts. You start choosing silence because every time you speak up, you are shut down. When care turns into control. This man often uses concern as a reason to control your life. I don't want you to work far away. Women should stay close to their husband and children. Your friends are bad influences, you should limit contact with them. Why work so hard? Just stay home and take care of the family. At first, you may think he just wants to protect you. But then, you realize you are losing the right to make choices about your own life. You are no longer free to do what you love or meet the people you want to see. Everything you do needs his approval. And if you resist, he will blame you, you never listen. You don't respect me. Do you even care about me? At this point, you realize that his love is not care, it's control. When you're always the one to blame. A clear trait of an authoritarian man is that he is never wrong. If there is a conflict, it is always your fault. If he gets angry, it's because you didn't listen. If he's upset, it's because you didn't act right. If the relationship has problems, it's because you don't understand him enough. You will always be the one who has to apologize first, take responsibility, even when it's obvious that he is the one causing the issue. Over time, you will feel worthless, always at fault, always trying harder to please him. When you lose yourself, this relationship doesn't just take away your freedom, it takes away who you are. You no longer dare to express your thoughts. You always have to think carefully before speaking, fearing that you might upset him. You slowly lose your hobbies and dreams, just to fit his expectations. Love is not submission. A man who truly loves you will respect your thoughts, feelings, and choices instead of forcing you to live by his standards. How to recognize and escape an authoritarian relationship. If you're in love with a man like this, ask yourself, do I still have the right to make decisions for myself? Do I feel that my voice is respected? Do I feel controlled rather than loved? A healthy relationship is not where one person gives orders and the other obeys. It must be a place where both share, listen, and respect each other. If you realize that you are slowly losing yourself, set boundaries. Remember, you have the right to make your own decisions. You deserve to be heard and respected. You don't need to change yourself just to please someone else. A good man will not force you to live by his rules. Instead, he will walk alongside you, respect you, and build a relationship of equality with you. Number 5. The man who always plays the victim. When love becomes an emotional drama. In a relationship, everyone faces difficulties at times and needs support and comfort. But if the man beside you always turns himself into a victim, always believes life is unfair to him, and constantly blames circumstances instead of taking responsibility, you might be in an emotionally draining and negative relationship. When he is always the one who suffers. This type of man has a very clear pattern. No matter what happens, he is always the one who is treated unfairly. If his job isn't going well, it's because his boss doesn't like him. If you're upset because he neglects you, it's because you're too demanding and don't understand him. If he fails in life, it's because his family didn't support him, his friends betrayed him, or society is too unfair. No matter what happens, he can turn it into a story where he is the victim and others are the cause of his suffering. At first, you may feel sympathy, wanting to comfort and help him. But over time, you will realize that he doesn't actually want to solve his problems, he just wants to be pitied. When you start feeling guilty even when you've done nothing wrong. A classic trait of someone who always plays the victim is their ability to make others feel guilty, even when no one is actually at fault. When you want to spend time for yourself, he says, "You don't care about me. I always have to endure everything alone." When you try to express your opinion, he says, "No one understands me. Even you are against me." When you feel hurt by his indifference, instead of apologizing, he reacts, "I'm already exhausted. Now you're making things even harder for me?" Gradually, you start doubting yourself, always wondering if you are hurting him, even when you've done nothing wrong. When he never takes responsibility. A mature person understands that while some things are beyond control, others require personal responsibility. But this man is different. He always blames circumstances but never takes responsibility for his actions. If he fails in his career, it's not because he didn't try hard enough, but because others treated him unfairly. If he breaks a promise, it's not because he's irresponsible, but because circumstances forced him to. If your relationship has problems, it's not because he needs to change, but because you are too demanding and have unrealistic expectations. You will realize that he never makes an effort to change because, in his eyes, the fault is always someone else's. When you have to carry the emotional burden for both of you. Being with someone like this feels like carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're not only responsible for your own emotions but also constantly expected to comfort, reassure, and make him feel better. When he is sad, you have to be there to encourage him. When he is angry, you have to find ways to calm him down. When he is disappointed with life, you have to play the role of his motivator. But the reverse never happens. When you are tired, when you need a shoulder to lean on, he will only say, "I'm struggling too. Can you stop pressuring me?" Over time, you realize that you are no longer just his partner, you have become his emotional caregiver. When you feel exhausted and lose your own happiness, a healthy relationship should bring you peace and joy. But when you love someone who always plays the victim, you will gradually lose your energy, happiness, and positivity. You always feel anxious, afraid of hurting him. You feel helpless because no matter what you do, he never seems to get better. You see that this relationship is no longer about mutual support, but a never-ending cycle of guilt and responsibility. At this point, you need to ask yourself, am I truly happy? How to recognize and escape a relationship like this. If you feel like your partner always plays the victim, try asking yourself these questions. Does he ever take responsibility for anything? Do I constantly feel guilty even when I've done nothing wrong? Does he actually want to change his life, or does he just want others to pity him? A truly mature man will face his problems, seek solutions, and not rely on others to save him. You are not responsible for healing someone who doesn't want to change. You are not obligated to carry the emotional weight of someone else's negativity. You deserve a healthy love where both partners uplift each other, not a relationship where you are forced to be a lifelong rescuer. Remember, you can love someone, but you cannot change them, unless they genuinely want to change. And if that doesn't happen, perhaps it's time to choose a different path for yourself. Number 6. The flirtatious man who loves the chase. When love becomes an endless pursuit. There is a type of man who makes your heart race from the very first meeting. He is romantic, charming, understands women, and always knows how to make you feel special. But if you look closely, you'll realize one thing: you're not the only one who has fallen for him, and you probably won't be the last. When he is too skilled at flirting. This kind of man has a defining characteristic: he was born to conquer. He knows exactly what to say to make you swoon. He always appears at the right moment, as if he knows exactly what you need. Every gesture, look, and word from him feels sweet and intoxicating. You might think this is fate, that you're lucky to have met someone who understands you so well. But if you pay attention, you'll see that he has treated, or is treating, many others the same way. To him, love is not just an emotion, it's a conquest. He doesn't love you because you're special, he loves you because you're a new challenge. When he falls in love too fast, too intensely. A signature trait of a flirtatious man is that his emotions come on too quickly, too strongly. Even though you've only just met, he says you're the one he's been searching for all his life. He paints a beautiful future for both of you, even though you've barely gotten to know each other. He overwhelms you with promises and grand romantic gestures that are impossible to resist. But the problem is, true love doesn't develop so hastily. A man who genuinely loves you will take his time getting to know you, rather than rushing to add you to his list of conquests. When he always has many satellites around him. A flirtatious man rarely focuses on just one person. You'll notice that he has many close female friends, and they are all beautiful. He frequently receives messages from other women, but when you ask, he just laughs it off or avoids answering. He always has a perfectly reasonable excuse for every suspicious action. If you express your discomfort, he'll tell you that you're being overly jealous, that you don't trust him. But the truth is, your instincts are never wrong. When he never wants a committed relationship. This man loves the thrill of the chase but despises commitment. In the beginning, he makes you believe he wants a serious relationship. But when you try to take things to the next level, he starts to distance himself and avoids talking about the future. When you bring up commitment, he says, "Let's just go with the flow." He loves the pursuit, but he fears the expectations that come with real love. Because to him, love isn't a destination, it's just a game. When you always feel insecure in the relationship. Loving a man like this means never feeling secure. You will always be asking yourself, does he really love only me? Am I the only one in his heart? Why is he so caring one moment and so distant the next? Over time, you'll realize that this relationship is exhausting. You're constantly worrying, trying to hold on to him, and afraid that you're just another name on his list of past flings. How to recognize and avoid a flirtatious man. If you suspect you're dating someone like this, ask yourself, is he genuinely serious about me, or does he just enjoy the chase? Does he want a long-term relationship, or is he someone who avoids commitment? Do I feel safe and happy in this relationship? A man who truly loves you will make you feel at peace, not constantly anxious. He won't make you chase after him, he will choose to stay with you willingly. If you realize that this love is just a game to him, then maybe it's time to walk away. Because you deserve a love that is genuine, not just a trophy in someone's conquest. Conclusion. Love brings beautiful emotions, but to have a happy and lasting relationship, emotions alone aren't enough, you also need clarity. The 6 types of men we've discussed all share one thing in common: they may captivate you at first, but in the long run, they will take away your freedom, happiness, and sense of self-worth and love. The controlling man takes away your independence and voice. The man who only makes promises wastes your time with false hopes. The seemingly perfect man makes you feel inadequate and causes you to lose yourself. The domineering and traditional man turns love into a one-sided dictatorship. The perpetual victim drains you emotionally as you carry his burdens. The flirtatious man never lets you feel secure or at peace in love. No one wants to fall for the wrong person, but to love the right way, you need to understand your worth and know what you truly deserve. Real love helps you grow, brings happiness, and makes you feel safe, not exhausted, insecure, or lost. Love with all your heart, but don't forget to listen to your mind, because true love never makes you lose yourself. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope today's insights on love have given you new perspectives and valuable lessons. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your loved ones. I truly appreciate your support and hope that each video helps you get closer to a happy and fulfilling love. See you in the next video. Wishing you a wonderful and inspiring day.